Hey, welcome back to the What If Universe. I'm Drew, here to bring you something new. And for today, we have Saiyan Motion. So be sure to
Hey, what's
stay
going on?
in. Yeah, sorry about
Hi.
that. I cut
Hi,
you
everybody.
off.
Sorry.
It's
I'm
fine.
definitely nervous for this, but I'm super excited to be here. So thanks for inviting me on.
Nah, it's fine. Honesty is what counts around here. Just want to let people know. Be sure to stay to the end because I will be announcing the next creators who will be interviewed. To start off, I'm just gonna have my guest here introduce themselves and just talk a little bit about what their channel's about.
Hey, guys, I'm Saiyan Motion, and I do Dragon Ball What Ifs, Dragon Ball discussions, and really anything interesting that comes to Dragon Ball that I can talk about for the viewers to enjoy. And yeah, I try my best to make the best videos I can.
Would you like to talk about your how to make a what if series real quick, since we do have an announcement for that?
Oh yeah. So the How to What If series was one of my projects that I did a very long time ago, but it was definitely at the time something. It was a really bad video, and it was teaching people how to make thumbnails. But of course, at the time, my thumbnails were also kind of in the gutter. But when I found my footing and I finally ended up making like really good videos, or at least to my standard, I started rebooting that series up, and I was like, hey, this is interesting. Maybe I could do a series instead of just talking about one thing. So first I did thumbnails, which I feel is extremely important for a what if creator to master and know what to do with, because a thumbnail is the first thing that your viewer sees. So if it's bad, that will leave a bad impression and they might not click on it. So you want good thumbnails first of all. And the second part I did was editing. I know so many what if YouTubers who don't know where to go for editing their videos. Most people are unwilling to spend money on a good editing software, which I completely understand. As everyone knows, I started off on Google Slides of all things, so it was definitely a change for me when I switched over to Filmora. And when I ended up doing that, I realized the freedom you have just keyframing and all those transitions that you can do that you can't on something that's free. But in the video, I did mention free softwares that are good and some that are somewhat costly, like KindMaster, where you only do like $5-10. But there's also like the really expensive ones, which you should only do if you have some editing experience and that you know you want to do this for a while, because they do cost you money. And now we're working on part 3.
Yeah, so part three, ironically, is about collaborations and how they work. So we thought it'd be funny to make that specific part into a collab to kind of parallel what the whole theme of that video is supposed to be about, basically. And I believe there's a few more parts to that series, but honestly, I think we're probably running close out of ideas for how far
Yeah.
that series I think will go for, realistically.
Oh yeah, the how to what if there's only so much you can talk about and teach, but a lot of that is the person that is trying to make the videos, making their videos the best that they can to the best of their ability, doing what they see fit with it. So I can only teach so much, and you and me can only teach so much, which is why the interviews that you actually do are very helpful for some people, getting an insight on what other creators do.
Oh yeah, a lot of other larger content creators like to listen to these because they're curious about how to get in the community. Because the thing is that they don't have time to watch through what creators' catalog of videos. They don't have time to figure out who they are as a person immediately because their time's a lot more limited. So this has actually become a resource to some of them, actually. So
Mhm.
it's kind of interesting how this has evolved for that. And speaking of resources, the second
Oh yeah.
project me and Saiyan Motion are working on is a what if theory. Now, what if theory is basically trying to grind down to what if content to its basic form and multiple resources that go on with making the content. Now, it's probably a year plus project. We have like a beta of it right now, but I think once we look into like other content creators might be interested to contribute and maybe get off the ground a little bit more, I think it will become like a very valuable resource once it's done, obviously.
Yeah, so Basically, without giving too much away, the what if theory should help the people who want to make what ifs and learn about what ifs and stuff of that sort. And having other creators join us would be great because this is a collaborative project and something that is there to teach everybody. So learning from our perspectives alone is not good enough. We want more and we want to be able to reach a broader audience, and we want to do the best we can to get a new generation of what if creators do their own thing, learn from us, and make up their own style of content, even. And everything that the What If Theory is attempting to accomplish will be great for the future of the What If community.
Yes, so for this interview, I'm gonna ask a few questions about what ifs, community, what ifers. I'm not sure what we call ourselves. Like, I guess what ifers is fine. I don't like the name, but that's besides
Really?
the point. So,
Yeah.
would you want
The
to
what?
start things off and talk about how you used to use Google Slides actually to make some of your videos? That'd be
Oh
interesting
yeah.
to talk about.
Oh yeah. So Google Slides. That was a whole maybe year, almost 2 year long thing that I did, and basically almost as long as my channel's been running up until this last year. So the whole thing was when I wanted to start this channel initially, it was because at the time, a What If community, I had no idea how big it actually was. At the time, maybe there was only a few, like Salad Sand and Cartoon Dojo and Smuxic and Masako, obviously, and the four of them were really the only people that everybody knew. And then all of a sudden, people are popping up here and there, and I was like, oh, this is interesting, because I know a lot about Dragon Ball, so why don't I just do Dragon Ball what ifs? I mean, it's always something that I've been questioning in my head. What if this happened? What if Goku went Super Saiyan early? Yada yada yada, all those what ifs, they just keep coming to you, and you're like, oh wow, I can make videos on this. So when I actually got around to it, I had zero idea how to do it. And when it came to presentation, I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, I use Google Slides to present in school, so why don't I just like somehow find a way to do that? And really, Google Slides came to projection there because I could really only do so much with it, right? But it was super simple to use, obviously. All you have to do is copy and paste the renders. I'd basically look at my script in a different tab, and every 5 seconds, 10 seconds, I'd look back at it to read what I was saying, and then make another slide and do that. What I was saying. And that's why fight scenes and keyframing, it doesn't exist with Google Slides. Like, I know some people can really animate and stuff like that using Google Slides because there are some animation features, but I never got around to it. Because the main problem was you can't export a Google Slide presentation. You have to screen record it, which was the biggest pain. So while I was reading my Google document on my phone, I was scrolling through reading, I'd have to press my mouse button on every single different Google Slide, and that was happening while the screen recorder was recording it. So sometimes you could hear my mouse clicking every like 5 seconds or so because I was talking and skipping slides at the same time. It was a really painful multitask process. So as I recommend, use an editing software. Even if it's free, even if it leaves a watermark, it's probably better than using Google Slides. Which was another problem with my original How to What If series. I preached using Google Slides. I was like, hey, you guys don't want to spend money? Google Slides is free. Why don't you just use Google Slides? But obviously, with experience, I realize now that that was not a good idea. Sometimes I'd end up with 100 to 200 slides. I remember I did a full story where I re-scripted it all. It was What If Kaba was born in Universe 7, and I was like, this video's original parts are so old, my audio was so bad, let me just redo it to make it better. And I redid it on Google Slides, and I ended up with 300 slides, and my laptop, which I was using at the time, didn't have a computer. It nearly crashed, because I tried to skip through, and it'd load like all 300 at the same time. It was really painful. I don't recommend it to anybody, which is another reason you should check out the editing video, How to What If.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know one content creator. They told me they start off with PowerPoint, and it shows, but it was relatively decent content at the time because, again, there's a lot of people in the what if space that actually don't edit. Surprisingly, the more I look into it.
Mhm. Yeah, PowerPoint is that I never tried that before. I did try to make a slide on Akira Toriyama one time for my school. I was like, hey, this is the guy that made Dragon Ball. Learn about him, and I made a whole PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, that was a bright moment.
So, what did you learn from switching softwares recently.
Well, switching softwares has been a great help. So I use Filmora, and Filmora has a lot of transitions and stuff, which obviously I didn't have access to before. So whenever I'd switch on slides, it would be like really abrupt. Like it would just be 1 second, there's like 8 renders on the page, and then the next it's just a background or like one person. And using transitions helps with that a lot because you can swiftly and smoothly get to the next scene, get to the next thing you're trying to say. At the same time, you can add sound effects while you're editing instead of having to like play something that the screen recorder will record. And you don't have to talk at the same time. You can record your audio separately and you can just put it in the software and edit through it and then add everything. It's extremely helpful. There's so many transitions. There's so much you can do, especially keyframing. Keyframing was revolutionary. At first, I didn't really know how to use it, but now that I'm becoming really good at it, it's so simple. Like you just plop 2 points down and you can just move the character across the screen. I mean, it's really big when you think about it. Like when you have to do it, it changes your editing forever.
Yeah, I think when you have more powerful tools, you can make a better presentation for sure.
hmm
But again, like you said, if you want to buy something, you kind of have to be obviously invested into it, I guess.
Yeah. You have to be willing to spend money, and in return, if you want to earn money on YouTube, you have to spend money first. It goes hand in hand. For YouTube, you have to be in the long run for it.
That or you're dedicating a lot of your time and losing it is the other
Right.
cost if you try not to spend money on it. But the thing is, like, if you really want to catch up with everyone else, you probably will eventually, even if you really don't want to.
Yeah, I don't see how someone could get super big. Like, I mean, I could see, like, even me, I reached, like about 7,000 using Google Slides, I think, which is impressive, I would say. But, of course, to level up, you need to take that next step, and you need to improve, obviously. So it's just a smart move to improve the quality of your videos for the viewers, and therefore you will get more in return.
Right, and for framework, Saiyan Motion passed me as soon as he did that, though. Is the big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was wondering, like, when was that point when things popped off, and you realize when someone tries to improve and they have a larger output, that's how someone passes you now. A lot of people I invite on, like, just people ask me, do I care about, like, sub counts? And overall things, it's like, to a degree I care, because it matters how people grow on the platform, but does it matter someone passes me? Not when I'm doing stuff for other people is the thing at this point.
Right. Well, the thing is, when it comes to YouTube, there's consistency, which is really important. Which is when some people did pass me, and I realized that it was mostly my own fault. Like I'm the one that stopped putting out videos, and when I stopped doing that, it gives other people a chance to capitalize on that moment, and they can surpass me then. And it's not their fault. They did great doing that. They capitalized on their moment. It was my fault that I did that to myself, right? And I've seen time and time again, as soon as I switched editing software, I did indeed see a boom. Especially with a series of mine that blew up, that's what got me. And then I realized if I actually want to keep this ride going, I have to be consistent and I have to use an editing software, which was when I decided to make the change. And of course, it paid off, and now people enjoy my videos. I've heard people say that I'm their favorite creator, which blows my mind sometimes. Like, it's crazy that I have that kind of audience. Because the What If community is dedicated. When they're loyal, they like someone, and they will tell them, and they will appreciate the content, and that's why you should try and make the best content for them.
I think that only happened to me recently with my what if the Martians from DC replaced Namekians. Now, to be fair, I'm giving a ton of credit Professor Chimp. It's collaborations between both of us. But the thing with that series is that there's been other What If content creators saying that I want to be a fan of this thing. Do not tell me anything, like leaks or nothing. Because they cared that much about the series. Because typically, when I'm doing projects, they're really long-term things these days. So I typically talk with people on calls while I'm like editing or writing something, but this is the first time where someone specifically like mentioned to me, don't tell me anything, because they actually want to see where it goes.
Oh yeah, I think it was a great idea to combine DC with Dragon Ball. I'm really excited to see where that series goes. And it's funny you say that you spend a lot of time in calls with people and how your projects are really long, because that also happened to me literally this month. So after a month-long project of producing the history of Goku, I guess, I was burnt out a little bit, but I immediately hopped back on the wagon because obviously, like I said before, as soon as you slow down, it's over and people will pass you, and you have to capitalize on your moment. So if a video didn't do good, boohoo, keep going. And now I'm working on 3 consecutive projects at the same time, and they're like month-long projects. Like I got a full story, I got a really big like Dragon Ball X Ben 10 series coming out, and I have a humongous collab coming out, which will probably air sometime September. So it's the big projects typically do better, but that's because you put a lot of effort and you put a lot of time into it, and when you're working on something for that long, you really make sure that it's the best that it can be, so when it does come out, it doesn't fail.
Right, and that's why I bring up the point to people that it's not worthwhile trying to race and compete against people all the time, because what will happen is your quality will go down. And that's when you start losing the audience, because I noticed that with my stuff more recently, it's like there are people just not coming back. So I was like, okay, next What If, I'm going to spend a long time on it. And
Right.
I believe Professor Chimp said it best in part 2 of that video. He said that our scripting took about 6 months to
6 months. Whoa. It's a long time.
and it's still ongoing because there's so many factors that go into that.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's nuts when you try to create something like that.
Yeah, original stuff typically does a lot better, because when you're original, you know, they know that you made the story, and it's really something of your own, and you put a lot of heart into it. And when you do that, it's really a byproduct, and it does really well. I've seen that with some of my own series that I've never seen on YouTube before, and I make it, and people are like, "Whoa, I've never seen this be done before. It's really cool. I'm subscribed now. Make part 2 or make part 3, whatever." It always does well, and my scripting process usually doesn't take 6 months, but when I do make like this collab that I'm working on, when I do make a big project, I'm thinking that this video will take anywhere from 2 weeks to like a month to script, and we just got into Dragon Ball. This is like a pre-Dragon Ball story. We just started Dragon Ball with Goku landing on Earth, and we're already at about like 10 pages.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff when you try to go like before early Dragon Ball. It's when stuff gets wild.
Yeah,
But
'cause
similar to the Martian thing, because technically there's like a setup for like Kami's backstory. That's kind of it, because they didn't feel like
yeah,
dragging people on too far, obviously.
of course. Really, with early Dragon Ball, you only have a few factors to look at. There's Kami, and there's Roshi and Shen and King Piccolo.
That is kind of true in a sense, but it also depends. Like, do you screw around with like Boo or Moro stuff
Hmm.
that kind of predates things? Because technically, stuff could just show up if you mess around enough.
That's interesting, actually. I never thought about it, but yeah, someone could really do a story that like goes way back with Moro, like how that would turn out differently if Moro won, or if Boo never got locked away. Like that actually, I mean, that'd be a destructive video, but destructive idea where people kind of die. But it's definitely interesting how Dragon Ball actually dates back like a lot, even before the series initially starts.
Well, even if you want to use like a character like Baby, he technically existed further
Mm.
back.
Wasn't Baby born like after? Well, no, it was like after Planet Devil was destroyed. I don't want to get into history.
Yeah, there's a lot that people don't consider when creating stuff for sure.
Hmm.
What do you
Yep.
do when you have writer's block?
Writer's block, I usually go back and look at the source material to see like what I've done. First of all, I look at my videos. I see what I've done so far and what's worked with the videos and how that writing style flowed throughout. And then when I'm at that end point, when I need to write the next part, I'll go and look at what happened in the original story, or I'll read the wiki or something, which is very general. Like, the wiki is extremely detailed, by the way. Like, that's really surprising to me how people went and wrote that detailed. Like, it's extremely detailed. It's really helpful, really. And I'll read it and I'll be like, all right, this happens in this part of the story. This has happened in my story so far. What can I do to make this differently? And I'll brainstorm and I'll take actually notes instead of writing out a script. I'll do bullet points of how, or like specific ideas that I have. Some vary, some go different directions. And when that hits, eventually I like an idea and I'll stick with it. Or the other way I do is I'll ask someone else to look through it and tell me if they like a specific idea that I have, or if they think something else would work better. So having help is definitely a better thing, and if you have help, you should capitalize on that and definitely, use it.
Yeah, I said this a while back that I'm more invested, like, showing someone a universe I'm working on, or like showing the process more than I used to be. I think a lot of that is that when you're doing this, if you're just doing this alone, it can get very, very lonely. That's how I see so many people burn out, I feel like.
You need, I think that's why collaborations, again, are so important. You keep things fresh with that, and it also allows you to work with other people. And getting to know other people in the community is always a good thing, because they're the people that you might end up working with someday, and you want to start off on a good foot with them. And if you can make a story with them and learn how they do things, if they're bigger than you, of course, learn how they do things and maybe improve your own content, or they can learn from you. It's all just, it's really helpful to look at it in a way of the community rather than yourself.
Again, once that collab video is out, well, it'll probably be out by the time this is out. Be sure to watch that. It's gonna be at the end card or pin comment somewhere. It'll be somewhere you can watch that. Something I wanted to ask you about is trends with the what if space. Do you think that is gonna eventually become a problem potentially due to a lot of people making quote unquote kind of like the same type of content?
Well, people making the same kind of content, yes, I think that might eventually become a problem. But there's always like ideas. I feel like ideas is so important, because having those different ideas, even if you have a similar editing style, I think people form their own editing styles over time. But that's why with What If Theory, we want other people. We want other people's perspective. We don't just want two people to be like, yo, do it our way, right? We want to be able to teach various different ways, and that's why I think it won't be as similar going forward. But I think there's also like a way that you can't always copy what someone else is doing. I think that's a good thing about the What If community, because as soon as you copy someone, you're screwed. People actually notice that so quickly. Like, I had in my Discord server the other day, I had someone be like, hey, this dude's stealing your thumbnails, and I was like, what? It's crazy that someone would do that, but of course, like, the fans are on it faster than you are. I think that's, again, your fans are really loyal, and that's why What If community is interesting. But having the same friends, I don't think long term it would be as big of an issue as someone would think it would be, because there's different ways to go about doing everything, and your fans will call you out on it if they think your content is too similar to someone else's.
Yeah, I can understand that prospect, because there's a lot of people now calling out people saying they took like Smugstick's idea for Betrayed Goku, even though this has been like Spanish Dragon Ball for a while. It just wasn't brought to like the English market until he did it, because the main reason why I never did is that, one, I wasn't as interested in the story with the ones I listened to, and two, I probably wasn't the right person at the time, because I was more doing like serious-esque what is kind of what most people do compared to what you kind of do now, which is more closer to like a blend, I feel like. Like, you can notice this a lot more with, like, what if Bardock betrayed the Saiyans? Like, it's a very absurd premise, but if you put a decent motive, you can make the story work somehow, even if it's just very bizarre.
It's just like that. I think it's all in the idea. If you can execute an idea properly, and even with, like, say, well, for example, the Smugstick series that absolutely took off, and with everyone else following close behind, I think there's obviously people who copy and pasted his story, and that's wrong, and obviously, like I said, the fans will call you out on it. But if you really went about it a different way, like you did, or because you made your own, like, you did Bardock, and I definitely did the Smugstick idea, but obviously I took my own spin on it. I didn't do it the same way he did, and anyone that does the same thing he did, obviously wrong. And again, the fans will call you out on it, and that's why you should always come up with a way to do it differently. And if you can't, just don't do it, because at the end of the day, it will hurt your channel more than it will do good for your channel, because again, the fans will call you out on it.
Well, to be fair, even in the past, I did my own version of what if, like, Stain from MHA trained Deku. And people originally were thinking I was copying Plus Ultraman, but the thing with that series in particular is I did help him in the past with his own series, but when he changed the writing direction from a way I didn't like it, that's what made me change my mind, basically, because I felt like Stain at that moment in time would have had way more charisma than Deku does before he gets his shonen protagonist, I would say, like, motivation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's obviously difference in writing direction. Again, leads back to collaboration. That's an issue, but we won't get into that. Different ways to go about a story is the whole reason an idea can be used by different people. Because if you can put your own spin on it and make it different than somebody else, obviously, all the power to you. Go ahead and do that. Just, don't take the actual story.
Well, that's what a what if in general is supposed to be. But if you lean too close to the original story, like, what's the point if you're trying to do something different? But if you don't, like, if you just take someone else's idea, obviously it's just straight up plagiarism.
Right. So, about the being, like, too close to the original story, I feel like that's the problem with a lot of super grounded stories, where they get too close to home, and it's really not that interesting to watch at some point. But there are some people, like, we know, that take it too far with the extreme and fan fiction, which is why you see a lot more people now that are doing fan fiction, and at the same time doing grounded stories, aren't too grounded, and aren't too fan fiction, to like, keep both audiences, which is kind of the future.
Right, because I would argue my Martian collab is more in line to what fanfiction is, and if it keeps more in the spirit of Dragon Ball compared to other what ifs.
Right.
But that's a different thing, at least I'm thinking about.
Keeping the
What
spirit
do you think
of Dragon
about the fandom, actually?
The fandom? I think there's different parts of the fandom. Some that I haven't seen, because I'm not a controversial YouTuber, and I think a lot of the Dragon Ball fans are really, like, attackative. But there's obviously those that are, like I said before, there's really loyal fans in the What If community. But I really don't like the fans that will attack you for something, because obviously that's not the way to go about it. Like, absolutely destroying someone's video in their comment section when all they're trying to do is make good content and try and get with the crowd and stuff like that. But the fandom overall, I think there's definitely some toxicity, but there are the good really outweighs the bad.
Have there been any mistakes when making content that you're able to learn from and apply to your content you make today?
Yeah, there was one video that I did in specific that I shouldn't have done, because I watched Karthu's Dojo's video on this story. It was like, what if Goku Black turned good or something? And I actually watched that video before I made my own on it. and kind of directed me to make my story similar to his, which is why I don't like to make a video, a what if video, if I've watched someone else do it before. So I realize now that it was similar, and people called me out on that, and I was like, okay, yeah, I watched the video back, and I was like, wow, okay, yeah, they're definitely right, and I privated the video, and I left it at that, and I apologized for it, and now whenever I go to make a what if video, and I have an idea for it, if I see that other people have done it, I will not click on that video no matter what. And if I've already seen someone do it, it really depends on if I remember that clearly. If I don't remember it, then I'll go with the idea. If I do remember exactly what that person did, I know that I'm probably more prone to go that direction, unless I think that what they did was completely wrong and I completely disagree with how they went about it, and that's why I would make my own spin on it.
Yeah, because as far as disagreeing goes, the only time that happened was with, like, again, with Plus Ultraman's video. But the thing is, like, it's more how we would write Stain as a character. I feel like it's a lot different, basically. If that makes sense. Because I think there's a lot of what if YouTubers who write characters like completely different.
Yeah, there's a variety of different opinions on how some characters would act in certain situations, and I do see a lot of disagreement on that, obviously, in the comments, when someone's like, well, I don't agree with this decision of what you did with like what you made Vegeta do, he should have done this instead. And I'm like, well, I respect your opinion, but this is how I decided to do it, so I hope you enjoyed. And I think it's always better to reply to someone who doesn't disagree with you and keep in complete control. Or if someone absolutely dogs on your video in the comments, I typically just go with the L. I just say L and leave it at that. I find that really funny, because then they'll reply with this absurd comment, and I'll just laugh, because I couldn't care less. Really, it's really easy to avoid the hate sometimes.
I can understand that feeling for sure. I did want to ask the question, are what if videos technically fanfiction?
Well, aren't all what if videos fanfiction? I think there's a difference of opinion on this, but you can make it, like I said, you can make it a fanfiction story that's super fanfiction, like making up your own transformations and stuff, or you can just do a fanfiction that's grounded. When it comes to it, if you're making a story that asks the question, what if this character didn't do this? You're a fan, you're making that. It's creating your own stories. So by that definition, it's a fan fiction. Yes.
Alright. Do you think fan fiction reading channels could overtake what if content creation?
Oh, that's a good question. It depends. If there's enough, I think, actually, no, never mind. There's definitely enough stories out there. It's because of the production, how much faster someone that can, like, read a manga and produce that story, I think they can do it a lot faster than a what if creator, because a what if creator will have to write out a script, edit that whole video, sound effects, blah blah blah. I think that's why Mondo Cool is really interesting. Even though he reads those stories, he does it really well. Like, he'll add sound effects, he'll do voice acting and stuff like that. So if I think people like Mondo Cool exist that can put their own stuff on that like that, and it's not just reading like fan mangas, yeah, they could overtake it, but just reading gets boring.
Well, I'm more referring to fan fiction specifically, not fan manga.
Oh, fan fiction what ifs, you mean? Like super fan fiction what ifs?
No, like fan fiction in general. Like, there's like thousands that exist for multiple series at this point. Like, there's already channels that are out there that are doing this. Like,
huh? I mean, I don't know. You mean, like, you said the question was if fan fictions could overtake like
fan fiction reading specifically, because the channels are doing that now, where they're not writing the story, but they edit the video using the story that's already written.
Okay. I don't know.
There's
really.
some who do it worse
possible.
than others, because there are people who basically steal fan fiction, title is a what if, and that's what it is. Like, that's what these channels are.
I haven't actually encountered someone who does that, really. Maybe I have. Maybe I'm just forgetting. But if you do that, well, plagiarism, stop doing it, man, please. I don't know. Maybe they could, but it's unlikely because, well, if, like you said, they're taking other people's fan mangas and turning it into a video of their own, original content typically wins.
Right. Right. I think it's more of like an encounter thing, which is fair.
Right.
I'm sure you'll see them eventually. They show up and recommended for me, at least for what I do.
I'm getting a lot more what if videos recommended to me because I've been trying to like watch other people's what if videos now and see what different people are doing, like you typically do. And I've been getting swarmed in my recommended with a lot of different what if channels now, and it's interesting to see how different people do different things.
Well, to be honest, that's a good thing. So, if you're wanting to start a what if channel, if you want your stuff recommended, you don't have that many subscribers, just start watching other people's what ifs on their channels and comment, because YouTube will recognize that and they'll basically recommend you.
Good tip.
Yeah, a lot of people don't think about that when starting off. That's just one thing I've noticed, because there's been a couple of channels who've done that recently, and there's enough evidence that probably exists. But
I will always be proud of my one comment. Carthu's most popular video, I comment on it, and it was most liked comment for a really long time, and then this one dude, this verified channel overtook me. I was kind of sad about it, but I'm still happy I was top comment for a long time, so yeah.
Alright, so let's jump over to some of the Discord questions that you asked your server. So first, we're gonna talk about how do you get inspiration for new what ifs?
Inspiration for new what ifs. So I actually typically write out a list of what if scenarios that I want to do, and so every now and then I'll just go and pick one that I think is extremely interesting. Or if I'm watching a what if video and I like it, and I'll end up making my own take on it. I think I can do it. Or lastly, I live stream. So when I live stream, I always get people recommending ideas to me. Sometimes they're absurd, and sometimes, like the video I'm working on now, they're really well intentioned and actually really interesting ideas. So that's another way for me to get what ifs. But usually I have a bunch written out that I'll just write in one sitting, so I don't run out of ideas anytime soon. And I don't think I'll ever run out of that list either, because at the end of the day, a what if series goes on for a long time, and this is something we've discussed before. Running multiple what if series at one time is really not healthy for the channel or yourself, because typically creators get like tired of series or running multiple series at the same time, and they get lazy, and it's actually a really tasking job. I think I left like a good 4 series behind because I was running them consecutively. And also, I feel like your stories end up being very similar to each other when you're running many series at the same time, because writing a story and then immediately switching to a different one, you might be slightly influenced by that last one and make similar changes. I've done it before, where I started 2 series relatively around the same time, and they were both at like part 4 at the same time, and I was like, wait a second, the same thing happened in both of them. What went wrong here? It's weird. I don't recommend doing multiple series at the same time, which is why I try to write out my entire story now before I start producing the video.
See, someone else asked, let's see. My bad, I scrolled down too far and I lost track of my questions. Here we go. So someone asked, will you ever do a what if I was in Dragon Ball or a Tournament of Power type of thing? What if?
I might do a what if I was in Dragon Ball, but not for a very long time. The problem with that is yourself in Dragon Ball, you have to be a very established what if creator for people to actually be interested in you being in Dragon Ball. So if you're not big enough, I don't recommend just putting your character in Dragon Ball. I've actually sat down and I was like, I'm gonna do this for 10K special, and I started writing it, and I was like, I mean, it's interesting, but because I'm not an OC, I'm not my own character, I'm just like a Super Saiyan 4. Like, I had a very interesting way of putting myself in the story, but I don't want to do it until like I'm at like 100K subscribers or whatnot. And a what if tournament of power thing, I think it's really confusing to do one of those. I know Salad Saiyan did one very recently where he did his different what ifs and those scenarios in the tournament of power. I feel like that would be a very time consuming what if to make, and it would be very hard for me to keep track of, and the viewers also, because if you're doing a what if tournament of power between all your series, the people that are watching should be like informed on those series. So if they don't understand what you're saying or who you're talking about, then I don't know. It might not go well, and that's why I don't want to do what if tournament of power for a very long time.
Do you have a job besides YouTube?
Not at the moment. I've thought about it, but at the end of the day, if I do get another job, that'll already like take away from my video quality, and at the same time, I have school starting in like 3 days, so I'll already be extremely busy with YouTube and doing school and just like other stuff on the side anyways.
Oh yeah, I think that's gonna take over a lot. It wouldn't be too worthwhile to try jumping too much else, unless it was like really good money, honestly.
Right.
What do you think you'll pursue whenever you choose to quit YouTube?
If I ever quit YouTube, I mean, honestly, the whole thing was I'd start thinking about my career like this year because I'm doing like 2 different types of classes. So whatever I prefer, I'll do that one. But I could see myself becoming a doctor or like an engineer, one or the other. I mean, I only have like 2 options, but I'm always hoping to do YouTube because I enjoy doing it and I love it and it's fun.
As you probably already know, there's a lot of investment towards it and whatnot, so as long as you can keep it up, I think you'll be fine. I feel like.
I hope so.
What is your favorite what if that you've ever done or watched? Well, I guess that's 2 questions. Well, I guess you can answer it that way.
I'll split it. So my favorite what if that I've ever done, it'd probably go to What If Goku Found the Omnitrix, which is a series I'm rebooting right now. I never actually ended up finishing it, and I wanted to finish it properly and do it right. So I've actually started commissioning a lot of art for it, and when I do start doing this again, it's definitely my favorite because it requires me to be really creative and implement. I haven't seen this be done before. I have to implement like aspects of Ben 10 into Dragon Ball, and it's confusing at the same time because you can't really bring Ben 10 characters into Dragon Ball because honestly they're not. I don't think they're that powerful. So I don't want to get into power scaling, but personally, I think Dragon Ball characters would destroy. So I try to give certain characters in Dragon Ball the motivation or the plans that someone in Ben 10 had. So Vilgax is Frieza, basically. So that's why I really enjoy writing it, because it allows me to be really creative, and I have a lot of freedom writing it. On the other hand, the favorite what if I've watched, well, I guess there's a couple.
You want to do top 5?
Top 5. That could be interesting. So one, of course, everyone loves Carthu's What If Kakarot landed on Beerus' planet, so that's definitely up there because it's a really well done video, and the bonus parts are also very interesting. I do very much enjoy Smuckstick's What If Goku Was Betrayed and Trapped by his friends. Of course, eventually it's going to get overdone. I mean, it already is overdone, but that initial one, it was done very well, and I enjoyed the character development that Goku went through throughout the series. And third, it would be Salad Saiyan's What If Goku Landed on King Kai's planet. I just think that's a really interesting topic, and if Goku's being trained by King Kai his entire life, it'd be really cool, because I love the Kaioken anyways, and he introduced, like, characters from Namek, like Cargo, and I think Cargo's a really underused character, and he managed to involve him and make him, well used. Fourth. Alright, now it's getting complicated. Okay, Damon What If. He did, this is probably my favorite, what if of, like, someone putting themselves in Dragon Ball. Damon What If Damon was in Dragon Ball was super creative. I mean, I think he does it better than anybody else did, because he included so many different characters and so many different people, and that's why it's on top of my list. And yours also, what if Martians were in Dragon Ball? I just think it's a really creative idea, and there's so much to do for it, and the amount of effort that you put into that video, it's just crazy. So I appreciate you for that, and it's up there.
Okay, this is funny. Someone asked what's your criteria for a collab.
Well, given my current circumstances, I'm collabing with someone who's at like 500 subscribers, but they are extremely talented at scripting. So my only criteria is, what value do you bring to the table? Will I be doing all the heavy lifting, or will you help? Will you be able to split the work? That's my criteria. It doesn't matter. It somewhat matters how big or small you are, but it's not as big as what value you can offer. If you're really good at editing, if I really love your editing, yes, you're on. If you're good at scripting, you're on. If you can offer something to me that I find valuable, that's my criteria for a collab. You're accepted.
I'd say mine's fairly similar to a point, but I think with my time more limited, I have been a bit more particular than I used to be, for sure.
Yeah, being picky is, I mean, it's definitely better for your channel if you think that one creator will do better than another, obviously, and that I do look at their videos before I decide to accept a collab, because you don't know if they're in it for the exposure, right? I never assume that off the bat, but if I watch their videos and I really think they need to improve on themselves first, and I'm busy anyways typically, and I can't fit it in, then I'll tell them, come back to me when you do this, this, and this.
That's fair enough. Someone asks, what is your favorite Dragon Ball character?
Well, Vegeta's a colorful character. I love Vegeta, and I love Piccolo just as much, because both of them have gone through like good character development in the show. Piccolo especially. I mean, actually both of them. Both of them have gone through a lot of character development. They're both very interesting characters that presented their own challenges in two of the best fights in Dragon Ball: Goku versus Piccolo, Goku versus Vegeta. Really interesting fights that pushed our characters forward, and also then they became part of the main cast. And with Dragon Ball Superhero, Piccolo got a buff. Actually, I'm not gonna run into spoilers. That's spoilers. Never mind. Spoilers. I'll stop there. But yeah, Piccolo and Vegeta.
I mean, he got a major role in the new movie. Yeah, he got buffed for sure.
Yeah, he got buffed.
What's your favorite part about making a movie?
Ooh. Well, I don't think, I mean, people enjoy, I think I enjoy everything I do, but scripting, it's really between scripting and editing. I think editing is super time consuming, which is one of the reasons I sometimes get really tired of it. But editing your own video your way, and then playing it back and like really letting it sink in that you made this, it's really interesting to look at, and I really enjoy that aspect when you can play back a video after you've done it. And if it's really well edited, you will get that sense of, wow, I made that. But scripting, still very important, and I like making my own stories, of course. So scripting and editing are both up there for me.
Someone also asked, are you ever gonna do another history of blank, I guess?
I'm unsure. Obviously, I uploaded the entire history of Goku, I guess, and the what I got in return, I expected more, of course, but I think that's my own fault, because I might have uploaded it like prematurely, like not the video prematurely, like my channel might have been like, it was coming off being demonetized, and maybe I should have put out some more videos before I decided to post the biggest project I've ever worked on. So it all depends. If this video, it still has quite a lot of time to like blow up and get a lot of views, I could see myself doing another history of Goku, I guess maybe a year or two down the line.
Alright. That concludes the questions from the Discord, so I'm gonna end things off moving towards more like general YouTube questions, since I think that's good transitioning point.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people who feel like quitting making what if content, or just want to quit YouTube in general?
Well, I've been in a situation where I wanted to quit doing YouTube what ifs before, Dragon Ball what ifs before, because, I mean, it's tasking job, especially when you're not getting much in return. I know there was like a whole 2 years where I went without making a penny, and it definitely weighs down on you. And I just look at YouTube in the long haul. Like, what can you gain from this? I'd look at how you can improve before you decide that you're at a point where you actually need to quit. If you like, obviously everyone can improve, and improving is massive. And so yeah, that's what you do.
All right. Have you ever received criticism from a video and managed to improve from it?
Can you repeat that?
Have you ever received criticism from like a comment like in the video from the like on a video, I guess,
Uh,
and learn from it?
I'm sure I have. Let me think. I think I've gotten comments definitely on my editing in before, and that definitely led to a transition in editing softwares, of course. And I know there's been other things before. I just can't recall really. But yeah, there's definitely been times that that's happened for sure.
All right. How important are platforms besides YouTube to you?
Well, there was a time period where I did use TikTok to like promote my videos. Like I'd post like a 60-second clip of one of my videos and see how that would go. I don't really do it anymore. I definitely think it could be valuable for creators because, of course, for some of them they work out. I know Karthu's done the thing with TikTok where he made like a really good like TikTok short. So obviously it could work out for people. I just don't. I haven't found it effective for me.
That's understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think places like Twitter is getting like too toxic, and that's why a lot of people are choosing not to use that anymore than it used to be?
Oh yeah, Twitter is. Twitter's something else, man. Twitter's really toxic. I mean, just recently there's been really big controversy on Twitter. I won't get into it, of course, but yeah, I think Twitter is extremely toxic. I don't see Twitter as being a super big platform for content creation anyways. I mean, it's all right, but I don't think it's definitely not up there. It's really just between YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, and you can do all three, really.
I was referring more into importance of promotion, I guess, is a better wording, or trying to be more community oriented.
Yeah, Twitter's definitely. You can be community oriented on Twitter. Like I don't promote my Twitter that often, and I know people on Twitter promote their channels. I've tried it before. Again, hasn't really worked out for me because I don't have a big Twitter following. But I know with you that you've done like you promote your ability to edit for other people on your Twitter, and it's worked out. So yes, being community oriented on Twitter, it can work. Still, Twitter's quite toxic. So
I think it's reaching a point where it's turning into LinkedIn to an extent. Like everyone has to be professional. It's not fun like it used to be, I feel like.
mm-hmm. Really, it's just people airing out their problems to either a sea of people or nobody at all.
Yeah, I'm considering, like, if TikTok does like a feed system or something else, I would switch over in a heartbeat because I would rather just deal with being out of touch versus all the other junk that's on Twitter at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Let's see, should content creators allow their fans to dictate what they make?
Well, again, like I said earlier, where I do live streams and then people can suggest what ifs to me, and if they're good ideas, I'll take them. I think it depends on the creator. Definitely, if the fans want it, the fans should get it because they're the people that are watching you, so you should definitely comply. But it really depends on what the fans are looking for. If you are heavily against it, don't do it, but listen to your fans for sure because they're the people that are watching you.
Do you think more content creators should just join the Discord scene and like have a public Discord, or maybe one for their patrons and members, and just drop Twitter entirely at this point?
It's fairly difficult to get people in a Discord server. I think it's possible, but I don't know if you can make that work because I've had a Discord server for like a year or 2 years now. Promoting it in a video takes away from retention. Promoting it in your description is a good way to go, but how many people actually look at your description? And then obviously pinned comments, stuff like that. I think you can't take away a Twitter page,
Well,
but you should definitely have Discord for your fans.
there is the community tab. I feel like that could be the method to get people in.
I use my community tab very often. Community tab is like my Twitter because I try to avoid. I don't avoid Twitter. I use Twitter for some things, but really, my community tab is my Twitter because I air my thoughts out on that if they're shareable on the community tab, and I like to, obviously promote my videos on my community tab, and I have promoted my Discord server. It's been effective before, and I think it's definitely for your members and patrons and stuff like that, you should have a Discord server at least. But of course, having a server for your fans is also very important because that's how you build your community. So you should have a Discord server regardless, even if it's hard to get people in.
Yeah, I know with Geekdom in particular, he only uses Discord for numbers, but that has worked out relatively well for him because you can't join it like a public one and whatnot. So I do see that possibly being the direction if Twitter gets any worse at this point, because I think it's getting pretty bad. Not just for people like him, like he's like more old guard type of thing, but there's newer people trying to start off on Twitter, and it's just horrible to see people get torn apart.
Yeah, Twitter ruins people, man. Twitter is the definition of emotional damage and how you suffer from social media. But Discord servers, again, I have a community, I have a Discord server for my community, and within it, I have separate private servers, or separate private channels for my members and stuff like that, and I find that to be effective also.
Oh yeah, currently with the content creator Anime Sage, we do that for his server, so his member stuff is separate from all the public stuff, so it works out relatively well for the most part. Let's see. As someone who's created What Ifs for a while, do you have any advice you want to give to other content creators?
So this is a big one. Accept help wherever you can and educate yourself before you start making What If content. Of course, my How to What If series and when What If Theory eventually comes out, that will be a massive resource for all of you. But even without that, study people's videos, see what they do, see how you can improve your videos before you put them out and make a mistake like I did, where I just put out content constantly, and when I started out, it'd be like one video a day. It was like a 3-4 minute video, and it'd be in the worst quality a YouTube video can possibly be in, and no one would enjoy it, and that's why even if it takes you time to make a video, it's fine. So long as that video is good, it'll probably get more retention and it will be more effective and more appealing to the audience. So educate yourself for sure before you start doing What If videos. And obviously, of course, be knowledgeable on the series, which is also kind of like educating yourself. But be knowledgeable on the series because you don't want to say something completely absurd that doesn't happen in the show. So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite non-What If video that you made so far?
I don't really make well, I do some tier lists every now and then, and I think tier lists can be informative. Non-What Ifs. Explained. My Explained series, now that I think about it. I do Explained series about like transformations and stuff, so I've done Kaioken Explained, Super Saiyan 4 Explained, and Ultra Instinct Explained. Super Saiyan 4 Explained is probably my favorite, because we go into like a bit of power scaling and just like some theoretical stuff, but like based off by facts. So those videos that require me to do some research, but then pay off, are like really fun to make. So yeah, so my Explained series is probably my favorite aside from the What Ifs.
I think the history of Goku video, I'd count that.
Oh my god,
that one.
I'm tripping. Oh my god, I completely. I'm so forgetful. I spent a month on that thing. I spent so long editing that video. I mean, I don't care if it didn't get as many views as I wanted it to. I'm trying my hardest not to let it discourage me, because I absolutely loved making that video. It was so, like, I couldn't tell you how many times I watched it back. Like, if I could be stuck in a room and it'd be playing for an hour over and over again, I think I've watched it more times than that. Like, it might be eternal suffering for some people. But for me, it's looking at a creation that I, like, sweat for. Like, I spent so much time on. And, of course, as you know, I got a lot of advice from other people on it. Like, I showed it off to a lot of creators before I posted it to get their thoughts. And I asked for criticism, I asked for what I could do better. And most people said, no, nothing really. Basically, everyone said nothing really. I think it's a great video, and that was a boost for me, and I loved making that video. I'm tripping. I don't know why I didn't just say it. I forgot.
It's fine. I only was thinking about that one because I did help you with the thumbnail, and that's kind of it.
Oh yeah, so the thumbnail, I was leaning more towards the one that I initially picked, and I'd used that for a while, but I changed it, like, 3 times in the first hour of that video being out. Because, there's a quick tip for you guys. If a video does bad initially, and you change your thumbnail and your title a little bit, that you could see some gains through that. And it was really annoying to see that video not do as well as I hoped. But I knew it was going to take a little bit of time to hit the algorithm anyways, because it's not a what if video. Overnight, it did do a bit better. But of course, it did stagnate at some point. But I have hope that it'll hit the algorithm again someday.
I think the title is relatively generic and also the subject matter. I think will probably get put in. That's typically what happens so many videos.
Yeah, I expected it to take a few days to hit the algorithm, but it's fine. I will not let it discourage me, and I'll keep going. I'll keep making content.
To be fair, you've impressed a lot of content creators when that video came out.
Yeah.
Like,
I hope so.
Even like Rising Fist left a comment, which is surprising.
Oh yeah, I shared him. I shared with him the like when I was at 4 minutes of that video getting done, which took me like a good 2 weeks to do. I was like, hey, Rising Fist, check out this video I've been working on. And he actually commented on one of my videos, and then I asked him if I could he commented on a video that I wasn't actually too proud of, because the editing at the start is kind of iffy, but it did really well. It was like, what if Goku's a god of destruction? And he said, great editing. I was like, oh god, he commented. I replied to him, I was like, hey, can I message you on Discord? And I messaged him on Discord, and I showed him the clip of the video, and he complimented the heck out of it, and I was really happy. It was like a confidence boost for me, because I was like, oh, even big creators like this video. And then when I completed it, he told me he left a comment and stuff like that, and I was really like, wow, you know?
I think the big issue, like, a lot of people says that it looks like you copied Garthu, but that's not the case at all, because you were in the process for a while. It was like way different, in my opinion.
Yeah, so initially, when I posted it, I wanted to set a premiere to like get people excited, and there was only like 1 or 2 comments that were like, Ayo, copying Garthu, and I didn't feel like leaving them an essay of like, hey, you're wrong. But the fans came to my aid, and like, I know like 5 of my fans just like absolutely demolished someone hating on the video. I didn't really feel bad, because like they're hating on the video, but like it was like, that's why I keep saying that the What If community is loyal, and your fans are important, because they'll come to your aid and they'll call you out when you do something like dumb. So yeah, happy for the fans, happy because of the fans, and love the fans.
Yeah, I would say that as long as you're not encouraging people to attack someone else, then it's fine. If someone wants to defend you, I don't see an issue with that.
Yep.
As long as you're not trying to be too toxic about it, obviously.
I think we handled the situation. They handled the situation quite well.
I think they did. I saw that. Yep. Like, let's see, what else did I have a few more questions here, and we'll wrap things up. So, one thing I wanted to ask: is it worthwhile to make another channel for a new type of content instead of just uploading non-what ifs to like your main channel?
I have not seen success with that, unfortunately. I actually tried to make. I've had like 3 different second channels. Like, I tried very early on in the career, but I found it very difficult to keep up with posting videos on the main channel consistently, and then taking time to upload on the second channel as well. And then the second time I did, I was doing it more for like, oh, I want to put gaming videos out there. But like, because my games are on the PlayStation, I couldn't really do that. And it was like, I guess that's a fail again. And the third time again, it also failed. So I decided that for me, if I want to make a video where I want to do some games, I'll just do it on the live stream instead, and then unlist that live stream. And that way, the fans that are interested in watching you for that, they'll just tune in and they'll chill out with you for a second. Other than that, I don't see a problem with posting Dragon Ball discussions and Dragon Ball what ifs on the same channel.
I guess if you keep the same theming, that makes sense. I can't agree with that.
Yep. But of course, other people have seen success with it. I know a few different creators who have many different channels, and they see success with it. So, all the power to you. If you can succeed with it, go for it.
I think one thing I think about is when Smugstick tried to launch his second channel. Like, it used to be a gaming channel, then switched to a discussion channel. He uploaded one video, and that was kind of it. And I was disappointed that it didn't go. Like, he didn't do more videos to try to give it more traction. But I'm sure some sort of behind-the-scenes thing.
Of course. That's actually something I've seen. I've heard advice on, if you're starting a new channel, before you start it, make sure you have like 5 videos that you can post on it. Because when you start a new channel, YouTube looks for retention, actually. And if they keep watching your videos. So if you have multiple videos already up on the channel, and you're not like in it for like that, oh, I posted the one video and it got like 10 views, I'm sorry, I guess I'm not gonna do it anymore. You can actually see some gain if you prepare more videos in advance, and then maybe you'll see an initial boost. But you can't expect your fans to be interested in a completely different idea than the videos that they subscribe to you for. I've seen some fans do it, but majority of them are just sticking with you for the content that they subscribe to you for.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see, is there anything you want to do in the future to improve the quality of your content?
I could see myself switching editing softwares again. Hopefully, if I'm making enough money at some point, I can get Adobe Premiere Pro, which of course has like a bunch of stuff on it. So I think that would be helpful for me. And of course, hiring people to do some different stuff, like making thumbnails, making art. I hope I can do more of that in the future. Making like I don't want to hire someone ever to do video editing for me, because video editing is something that I like to do the process of, because I want to make the video and then I'll look back at it and be like, I made that and it did well. I hope it's not sound like an ego thing, but I think it's just a connection to the video that you have if you edit it. And scripting, maybe I could see myself hiring someone someday to script my videos for me. I know I have help scripting now, because me and my friend DBS Nitro, we work on the videos together, because I'm good at really like writing the story throughout, but I can't detail it as well as he can. So he's really good at sprucing it up. So sometimes if I think a video is lacking detailing, I'll be like, hey, can you touch up this video real quick? And he'll do the same with me. So I think asking for help is something that you should never look down on, and you should always do.
Yeah, I can understand that. I would recommend for people who are like planning to go like to college in the future, you should look into like the Adobe Suite thing, because I believe you get a relatively large discount. It doesn't matter if you're majoring in Adobe products or not, as long as you're like a student, you can actually get a student discount.
Oh yeah, if I join my school's photo whatever the engineering program, I don't know, it's like photo editing or something. If I do that, they give me Photoshop for free, so that'd be cool. But like, they're all filled up now, so that's unfortunate.
I think it'd be worthwhile to try it at some point, or at least figure out a career path where you can expand your tools potentially, like as a side thing.
Oh yeah, I've wanted to take like a class to help me learn like Photoshop and stuff like that before, unfortunately, all of my classes got filled up, so I couldn't do it. But maybe next year. And anything that'll help me improve the quality of content that I put out, and at the same time, it'll kind of count towards an education of sorts.
Yeah, I think with content creation kind of more popular, those classes in particular are getting filled way more than what they used to be.
hmm Oh yeah, did you know that like over like 70% of teenagers want to be YouTubers? Because I mean, not and astronauts isn't even that big to anymore. Like astronauts probably like the coolest job, but people want to be YouTubers because I mean, who doesn't? You can play games and get money, but like I'll let you guys know now, it is definitely way harder than it sounds because you have to put in so many hours, and of course you have to be in YouTube for the long game because you won't actually make that money for a couple years. Like you won't get monetized for a year, and you won't start making good money for like another year or two. So if you're gonna ever like want to do YouTube and you actually execute it, just know that you have to be in it for the long run.
Well, that's if you try to stay dedicated to your own channel for however long. You don't know if you'll get hacked. You don't know if like you'll lose your whole channel, because that's a big threat thing that used to be. Like today, there's so many channels that get taken down. Like even big channels, and it's kind of like nerve-wracking to see this. And some people honestly don't get their channels back, and you could lose a ton of money.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a threat that I thought about for a long time. This was when I was like doubting doing YouTube. I was like, it was after the Toei purge initially. I was like, do I really want to keep doing this and put so much work into this when I could
the
lose
Toei
it?
purge really killed a ton of channels. Like
Yeah.
several that was in like group chat with quit. Even channels that were doing relatively well off, like Salgin, for example, like used to collab with him in the past. I think it's still up on the channel here, but yeah, he quit after he lost everything, and a ton of other channels did too. Like
Yeah, it's super
even ones that were
understandable.
making money, which is
Of course.
crazy.
I mean, losing everything, I think that puts you in like a spot where you're like, oh, I spent so much time doing this, and now, what was it all for? To just lose my channel? And the Toei purge really scared me. I was like, you know what? I'm rethinking this whole YouTube thing. And then, of course, the second coming of Toei, where they strike Mark, that was like, wow. Like, that was a really eye-opening. It was like, whoa, they can strike big channels too? Luckily, he got his stuff back, and that gave me hope for YouTube that, it is recoverable, and I can, like, ban my videos in Japan, like, when I hit good views. But, hopefully, it never comes down to that. Hopefully, I never get, purged by, I never get struck by Toei, unless, of course, it's my fault for doing something stupid. But I doubt that I'll ever risk my channel like that, because it's not smart of me after spending years building this up.
But yeah, is there anything you want to tell the audience and stuff before we end here? Do you want to do that?
Oh, I mean, I guess once again, I'll announce the How to What If collaboration part 3. We will have that up. It'll be somewhere on the screen or in the pinned comments, so go check that out. And, of course, if you're not subscribed to Drew right now, you better do it. So, yeah, do that.
Anyways, before I officially end, I have the next two people who are going to be on, since I'm doing this really in advance. So, as you probably saw last month, I had Ronan Charizard on. I hope you enjoyed his stuff. Hopefully, planning to check out more Pokemon What If channels, because that's a really interesting genre that's been popping off. But as far as the upcoming people, I have Professor Chimp, who is known for the collaboration on this channel. He's done writing a lot for Smugstick, and he's actually looking to outsource his writing to other people. So if you ever wanted to have a what if written of your dreams, contact him, because if you pay him enough, he'll do it.
He makes some good stuff, though. He's definitely worth his money. He's really good at writing.
I would definitely say it'd be worthwhile to look into. Like, I know back in the day, there's people who paid for fan fiction stuff. Like, if you want like a nice script for something, I recommend that. And the next person who's coming on is Anime Sage, who is basically the second well, not second. He's the primary person who I edit for besides Smugstick, as he is the next person who I edit for a lot. There is a private client I edit for. It's mostly Let's Play content, but that's why I don't talk about too much because it's not relevant to what I make. It's the thing.
Oh yeah.
Like maybe I could have him on and talk about stuff, but
Let's Play like Dragon Ball Let's Plays though, like video games. Dragon
he
Ball?
does like Twitch streams and stuff, but he
Oh,
does other Dragon Ball content as well.
that's interesting.
That's non Let's Play related, but I'm sure some people could get some hints from that figured out. But yeah, that's where that's going. As far as what else is going on, what if Corona joined the Straw Hats? That series is going to end here probably pretty soon, by next month after this is released. So hope y'all enjoy that finale. But yeah, this is the end of podcast here. I'm once again, thanks Saiyan Motion for coming on, and I hope to get more people on in the future. So always remember, at What If Universe, there's endless possibilities, and I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.